Coming up today on the Canadian Real Estate Show.
Canadian dollar stumbles to 4.5-year low as U.S. powers ahead.
69% of Albertans, 52% of Canadians want a federal election now.
Builder sentiment slumps as mortgage rates continue to stall new home sales.
Home sales prices grow modestly as supply increases in Calgary.
Single-family home starts hit 69-year low in new Ontario housing data.
And Canadian consumer insolvencies continue climbing towards new highs.
All this and more coming right up on the Canadian Real Estate Show. Let's go. Good morning, Mr. TK.
It's getting earlier and earlier and earlier, Darryl. Is that like daylight savings time? Is it the daylight savings time's fault?
I don't know. I wake up in the dark every day. It doesn't matter. I'm up at like 4 or 5 o'clock. No alarm every single day. But it's definitely like darker longer when I wake up. I feel like by the time the rest of my family wakes up, it's tomorrow.
Yeah, you've already gotten a whole day in by the time they get up.
By the time most people get up, I've got a whole day of working.
Yeah, especially when you got, I guess, adult children. That's,
they like
18 years old as an adult. Yeah.
They like to
18.
sleep.
I remember my parents sold the house that we were living in when I was 21. And there was a buyer's visit. And it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm sleeping in my room. And I just remember vaguely remember someone opening up the door and looking in and probably smelled in there and stuff. And they just kind of looked inside like, okay, let's go. That's what you do when you're that age.
That's why I don't bug them, because I remember how much shit my parents gave me when I would sleep in late. And it was like, like, what do I have to do? I don't have anything to do. So like, leave me alone. I
know. I'm rejuvenating over here. Like, geez, trying to get ready for like the rest of my life of work and hard labor. Well,
for me, I mean, work and life, they blend together all the time. So the longer people sleep, the more work dad gets to get done. And hopefully that translates into more money, because they like to spend, TK. And I don't know if you heard, but like there's a recession going on, I think. Are we in the recession yet? Have we officially hit a recession yet? People are talking like we're in a recession.
I would say that, despite what the numbers say, the sentiment is times are not good.
Times are not good,
and that they're not getting better anytime soon. You know what? I'll give you some insight. So I've been talking to a lot of people, and every time I kind of tell them these stories, they're always assuming that the people who are in trouble right now are these that just get rid of the mustache, Joe. It's just not working today, and
it's not.
Mine's sticking really nice right now, and they assume that these people are like, like lower middle class people who got into housing and they never should have. I would say that the people who are lower middle class, who just have like very blue collar jobs, are making just decent money, but like fixed incomes, nothing special. They've been very responsible with their spending. And the people who have made the big brash decisions on buying that new big house out of town, doing that massive reno, buying those rental properties. These are the people who have really good jobs, lawyers,
steady, stable,
a lot of real estate agents, people who are making really good income. They spend too much money. And so the majority of the cases that I go to where people are forced to sell, it's not because they don't have good incomes. They have fantastic incomes, hundreds of thousands of dollars of income combined as a household.
They just have really good expenses too.
It's just they've spent $1 more than they made.
Sure. $1 more, it'll do it. Right. Eventually.
And that's the situation they're in. I mean, I was at another lawyer's house this week, millions of dollars of properties, probably rich, cash poor. You know what I mean? Like he's got like tons of
Canadian.
equity
Yeah.
overall, right?
Canadian.
But he's a lawyer. He's you know, I won't get into too much details, but you know, bottom line is, um, bought a property, value of the property, I would say probably has gone down a little bit, but of course he wants to be able to come whole. And you're talking a multi-million dollar property. He wants to be able to sell the property and come out whole. And so I was like, well, that's just not going to happen. That's just not
Mm.
what's going on. I dealt
I
with
got
somebody
bad news
recently that
for you.
I sold somebody's house recently that bought in 2021. They had a, you know, they interviewed me a year ago. A couple other agents told him, don't worry, we'll get you all your money back. Don't worry. I told him the truth, which was if you bought between this date and that date, your best case scenario right now is to sell close to what you paid for, and all your expenses and everything like that will be your loss. And so that's normal. So I gave them that information. They went through two realtors a year later, called me back, and I just got it sold a month ago at a price that I would say I was pretty close to where I had told them originally. So I was confident in my strategy. So I went in there and told this guy the same thing, and he's probably going to go with somebody else who's going to tell him
Sure. What
way
he
more.
wants to
He's already
hear.
gone with one, and so he'll
Yeah.
probably go with someone else again, a second one, who's lying to him. But at least I know that I sleep well at night, telling him the truth.
Hello, my Canadian friends. Man, is Trudeau really fucking up your country? I strongly suggest that everyone subscribe to this channel right away. It's very important. You saw what they did for President Trump. Imagine what they can do for your country. Smash the like button, make a comment, and for God's sakes, ring the damn bell. And whatever you do, don't watch that fucking Tom Story show. It's awful. I'm just being honest. That's what I do.
Well,
But the truth is
listen,
this. This is the
not
truth, though.
lying.
When you sold, if
They're
you sold,
delusional.
if you bought and sold in 2021, okay, and now you're down $500,000, $200,000, $100,000 on the value of the home that you currently live in, you have to remember that you also sold a house at that time, okay, and the value of that house would have gone down drastically. So
You
has
don't
your
have to
equity
remember that. You're
really
dying. You're
changed?
getting
But
all fucked up. You don't remember anything. You're
how
thinking stupid.
But that's what I mean is so everyone on paper doesn't want to have a perceived loss. They're just like, what the heck? I bought it for 2.1 and now I got to sell it for
Perceived.
2 million. They're like, geez, what's going on? But if
Oh,
you look and you say, but you sold your house in Oakville for, you know, 1.9 when you bought that house for 2.1. And that house in Oakville right now is only worth 1.5.
yeah.
So you made an extra $400,000. If you had never moved, you'd still be in that house in Oakville and it would be worth 1.5. And you'd have the amount of equity close to where you would if you just now sell this house at 2.1 and move on with life. Like maybe you eat up a little bit of expenses and moving costs, cost of doing business. But it's like you got to wrap your head around that. So
Well,
this particular case,
easy
this
for you to
guy,
say.
well, I'm just saying, it's like, you know, they got to break down the numbers. This particular case, the guy had bought early 2021, but he didn't sell his property until February 2022. He waited a year. He cashed out hundreds of thousands of dollars more. He can afford to sell his place at a probably $400,000 loss that he's in right now and still come out even.
Yeah, but you're only factoring in what's going on with the house. Like, there's probably all kinds of other shit in the mix where this guy has to figure out how to make this so that he's not underwater because nobody looks at it and goes, oh, wow, I'm only going to be like $200,000 underwater after this. This is fucking fantastic. I mean, thank God TK told me the truth and I can deal with that because
That's all I
that
know.
sounds amazing, right? Well, but this is the thing. And this is why insolvencies are on the rise across Canada like crazy because people hang on too long and they do foolish shit. But
Yep.
I mean, go back a step and like let's analyze their spending over the last little while. Like, could
Mhm.
this have been avoided, right? Could we have built up a war chest knowing what was coming down the pipe, or were we just frivolous and crazy and now it's like, oh my god, no, I don't want to do that. And probably it's the latter, right? Because
Yeah.
people don't want to listen to you or the person telling them the truth. Nobody ever likes hearing the truth at all, ever. Speaking of hearing the truth, TK, I don't know if you heard this because you're generally not up on things, but this thing is flying all over the place online. Have you
On
heard
Twitter.
that that
Just
leaked phone call?
please use the word Twitter when referencing that I'm not up on things, just so people
You
know, because
right.
I'm up on the mainstream media, just the
Well, if
Twitter
it's on
stuff.
TikTok or or Twitter,
or Twitter.
X,
I don't
then
know
you
about it.
definitely have not heard about it.
Okay.
But regardless, you haven't heard of the leaked phone call between Trump and Mr. Trudeau?
I haven't heard the phone call, but I did hear of it,
You
and that
did
I
hear
did
of it?
hear that it was verified to be real.
Oh my God, it's
But I
crazy.
haven't heard the
Let's
call.
listen
Do you have
to
a
it.
copy of it?
Yeah, because
Okay.
this is crazy. I just heard it
Yeah.
for the first time like an hour ago. Check this out.
Yeah.
Hi, Donald. Congratulations on your big win. I'm really excited to work with you again. I really feel like we had a great relationship the last time. We are excited to help you make America great again.
Justin, I am not looking forward to working with you again. You are a tremendous fool. We call you Justin the Fool. So you have done a tremendous job destroying your beautiful country. You are absolutely the worst leader in the world right now. What are your pronouns?
My pronouns are he and him. Thank you for asking.
I want your oil, Justin. We are going to build a fantastic pipeline. Frankly, the best pipeline, the longest pipeline. Let's make a deal for your precious, precious oil.
Donald, if we are going to sell you our oil, then I am going to have to make the worst possible deal for Canada. I don't want my people to have any prosperity at all. I don't know if you have noticed, but we are trying really hard to ruin our country right now. Can you send more illegals our way?
We will be deporting all of the Mexican murderers and rapists very soon. Then we will deport the Brazilian gangs taking over the buildings. And then the cat-eating Haitians, you can take them all. They will fit in very well in Canada right now. You won't even notice them with all of you weirdos.
Thank you very much. We are really trying hard to break all of our systems and create chaos for our entire population. Overpromise and underdeliver. I always say, I think Canada should pay for the pipeline entirely. Then we can sell you the oil for dirt cheap, and then you can sell it back to us.
But quite frankly, Justin, I am beginning to like your style. This will be a tremendous deal for the United States. Klaus Schwab must be very proud of you. Please send your father Fidel my warmest regards. I love Canada. It's my favorite country to take advantage of.
Fidel Castro is not my father, goddammit. I am really getting tired of people saying that Fidel Castro is my father. Who cares if I look exactly like him? Who cares if there are pictures of him holding me as a young child? Who cares if the timing is perfect? You are making me upset, Donald.
You aren't fooling anyone. I need to get to my golf game. Goodbye, loser.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's worse than we thought.
I think it's perfect.
It's worse.
Like, you
Our
want to talk
situation's
about
worse.
truth, right? They're both being pretty damn honest on that thing.
I know. But
Who
it's worse
got
than we
this
thought.
though? Where did it come from?
It's almost
a
as if, like,
staffer?
It's almost as if we need a new government, you know? It's almost as like
Oh
like
my
we
God.
if we don't have a change soon, we're going to be in some really deep waters here with the US.
I think
right?
we're
And
in some-
everybody's sucking the sack, you know what I mean? Right now, like they know Trump is
What does that mean? Sucking the sack. Oh, okay.
Trump's
Like the teat? The
the
teat?
teat, you know? They're all like, "Oh, Trump, hey, look
Wanna
at
get in
me,
there.
pay attention to me. I want to do business with you." The whole world, all the political leaders and stuff like that. He's good at what he does,
He's good. He's
He's
good.
good at
He's
what he does.
entertaining. He's
He's-
brutally honest.
right? And he's going to be like, "Listen, this is what we're going to do, and I'm going to shake it and make it, and guess what? You guys are going to be at our mercy." And he knows what he's doing. He knows the power that he's got. I love it.
I like it when guys are direct and honest and like right to the point and
Unless it's
say
against
it like
our
it is.
prime minister, then it's kind of like painful and embarrassing.
Well, I mean, I
That-
don't enjoy it when people direct it towards me generally, but
Mm.
I over time I absorb it and I either
Yeah.
attack or curl up into a little ball and cry myself to sleep.
Trump's a fan of the show. He's a friend of the show. So
Obviously.
you know what? He gets a pass.
He gets a
gets a
pass.
pass. Yeah.
Trudeau, obviously, like, see, okay, can I tell you a story? Because this whole system is fucked up here in Canada. And I had a personal incident this past week that I think is just unbelievable. And we all talk about left versus right and conservative versus liberal. And like, we want to get rid of the liberals. And we don't want to get rid of the liberals. We want to get rid of Justin Trudeau and probably a few other liberals, but it's not like I shouldn't have to pick a liberal or a conservative. So, okay, where am I going with this? TK.
Careful.
The other day,
Mind your words.
Sunday morning, we get a doorbell ring. Okay, which is rude to begin with. I mean, this is not the 70s. People don't just ring your doorbell and show up with a
How
cake.
dare
right?
you touch the
How
button on the
dare
outside
you?
of my door I left there for you to touch?
It's Sunday,
How
okay?
dare you?
You don't know if my kids are, sleep until 2. Anyway, so it ends up being like a representative for the MP running in the area for conservative, right? Hey, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. Do you have a minute? And I was like, you know what? For the first time ever, I'm not slamming the door in this person's face because they're conservative and I want to talk to them. I want to see what they're all about. And so I got the dog yapping in my arm, and it's a scene. I go, give me 1 sec. I want to talk to you. I put the dog down, and I see the guy in the flyer that she handed me, the MP, the guy running. He's coming towards me. I'm like, this is great. I get to talk to the actual guy. And so what happens, I'm thinking in my head, I got these questions I want to ask you. I want to see how you're going to represent me, right, in my area, because we got to vote for the guy in our area in order to get the guy at the top that we want, right? The stupidest system of all time. So in order for me to get a conservative in as prime minister, I got to vote for the conservative in my riding, where my ward, where I live. So I have to vote for a guy. So I want to like this guy because I got to give him my vote, right? And not only am I giving him my vote, technically there's 4 votes here that will likely go in the same direction, right? So he's coming up and I'm getting all excited to talk to him, and he goes, how you doing? We're going to beat Trudeau together. Have a nice day. I'll see you later. Thanks for letting me put a lawn sign up. And he walks away. Didn't even say a goddamn word to me. It's like as he's running away from me, he's saying, hey, thanks a lot. See you later. We're going to beat, his whole campaign is we're going to beat Trudeau together. I'm a conservative. There's nothing else. I don't, maybe there's something else, but I think.
But that was it. He didn't even like ask permission to put the sign on your lawn.
The girl did before, and he must have like got the thumbs up, and it was like, okay, I don't need to spend any time here. I got what I wanted, right?
Well, he needs to rethink his whole strategy.
I'm sitting here going, that motherfucker, this stupid son of a bitch. Now I got to vote for this motherfucker who I hate now. I don't even know him. I hate him, TK. I think he's a dummy. I think he's a dick, and I don't want to vote for him. Now I'm fucked, right? Because if I don't vote for him,
well,
I don't
what you just announced was that you're voting for Trudeau, so they're going to eat you up in the comments.
Are you a real estate agent and you're looking to make a change? Anywhere in Ontario, guess what? We're hiring. Franklin Associates, #1 team in the GTA for all RE/MAX teams, #1 team for all teams from all companies for number of units sold throughout Toronto. So if you're looking to make a change, best decision I ever made was to join Franklin Associates. Go to jointeamleo.com and we can set up a call.
I want to vote for Pierre, even though I'm sure he's a dumb fucking puppet too, like the rest of them. I feel better about him than I do the alternatives.
I think you're not alone. Yeah.
I think I'm not alone. And that brings us to like another thing where out in Alberta.
Do you think that maybe they'll trade Trudeau, like how Kamala and Biden had got the old switcheroo right before election?
For Freeland?
Well, don't you think that the Liberals, that would be a pretty good strategy?
I don't know. I don't even know if it was kosher in the States. I certainly wouldn't want to replicate it here.
Well, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that that would be the only way that the Liberals get reelected.
Why can't I vote for just Pierre or just Jagmeet or just the guy I want in office? Why do I got to vote for dumb local fuck here who does not give a shit about anything except probably, I don't even know what they care about. Right? They're probably put in there by somebody that needs something. And it's like, you know what? If all we do is run as conservatives, we can get somebody in power that will definitely win because the whole, well, and that's what's weird is it's not, according to these polls, it's not the whole country, but the majority of the country wants that dumb fuck out of office now.
Yeah.
Right.
But polls are polls. You know what I mean? Like we asked 3 people, 2 people said something. Now we got 66%. But the bottom line is, Darryl, you have to have a representative in the area who's going to be familiar with what the people in the area are looking for.
But why can't I vote for a liberal locally? Why can't I vote for a liberal locally and still get the conservative prime minister that I want? Why
because
can't
they've
I vote
chosen
for
the liberal, because the liberal party has chosen that particular MP, and that MP can represent what the Liberals stand for, and they've got him with their hand up his butt, making him talk the way that they want to talk, and that if he doesn't fall in line, then they'll find somebody else, right? And so that's the reason why that person who's going around right now is so confident, because he doesn't have to say anything right now. Everybody is basically telling him, listen, I'm voting for you. I don't even care what you're going to be talking about or what you do. Do you even live in this neighborhood? Who cares?
Who cares? Do I have your vote?
That's the issue. So that's the problem. So, but that's just the systems. I don't like complaining about systems because there's no point in changing them. So I think
no point in changing.
There's no. So I think you can't change
a Twitter poll.
Sorry, Darryl. A Twitter poll will not change.
Who do you want to win?
But you should vote. 1, you should vote. 2, okay, you should think about it not as a who am I voting for, but which party do I want to have in power, and you vote for that guy. That's what I do. As
I
much
know,
as
that's how you have to do
as
it.
much
It's
as I
stupid.
like the guy in the neighborhood, whatever. It's
Oh,
I'm thinking
God.
about what party is he representing.
This is
and that's the
crazy.
guy that I'm going to vote
This is
for.
a crazy system. It's like, well, who do you vote for here? Who do you vote
But you
for
know
for
what you're
this?
doing. You're
Who do you
voting for a
vote
party.
that?
You're not just voting one person. You're voting for the party to come in, and that
That's so
seat
dumb.
is going to be represented by the guy who's your MP. That's just the way it goes.
No, but you're not justifying it. You're just explaining it the way that it works. And TK, I know how it works, believe me. And people will
Sure.
say, what the fuck does politics have to do with real estate? And talk about real estate. And the truth is, TK, politics is all about real estate. It's all about real
Especially in
estate.
Canada. This is the whole topic. This is the only housing. This is what everyone's talking
It's
about. The whole
all
how do you get
politics.
votes? You can see everybody, whether it's right before the provincial, municipal, or federal elections, they start promising all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's insane, the ideas that they come up with. And on the federal
Why do we have
side,
to wait, though?
and
Why do we
as,
gotta
as
wait?
Trudeau has mentioned in the past, housing is not the federal government's primary concern.
Until it is.
Right? But like mortgages, Canada Mortgage Housing Corporation, like that's a pretty big thing for us to be able to have access to money in order to be able to have this type of environment. The Housing Accelerator Fund that doesn't seem to be doing anything, and
Zero.
nobody seems to be getting any money or building any houses with it.
Zero.
That's all stuff that's got federal intervention. OSFI, is a federal regulatory body for the banks, which controls our stress tests and all that kind of stuff. There's a ton of federal involvement, and I think that there's going to be a lot of stuff. And the Bank of Canada is obviously concerned that the government's trying to have all these new loopholes, trying to create more affordability and all that kind of stuff. But really, what's being done? I mean, at the end of the day,
Nothing.
there's nothing that's actually leading towards more sales because of these programs. It's very political. It's very, very, very political. Anything that actually needs to be happening right now on the federal side, one would be remove the stress test altogether, right? Two would be the CMHC MLI Select program to completely, revamp that in order to be able to make
so
it
that people want to use it.
make
That'd be
it
cool.
work now for purpose-built rentals. Taxation on rentals to be able to get people like the big REITs and institutional and large global companies who want to actually invest in real estate here. Give some really, really great tax advantages to them in order to build real estate, which is what we want. That's all federal level, and they're just not doing it.
They're not doing it, but they keep talking about stuff.
Yeah, they're campaign promises. They're on the trail, Darryl. They're on the campaign trail, Darryl. This is how it goes. They're looking to be able to get more votes.
They're making things. They're making changes. They're doing stuff. It's just none of it's enough. None of it ends up enough, and all of it has strings attached to affordability, affordable options that are impossible. But TK, I want to stress how dumb it is that you can't pick the right person. So let's just say it's you and me in the same riding, okay? And I think that you are way better for the area than me, okay? Or let's say somebody else thinks you're way better for the riding than me, but I'm a conservative and I'm a fucking idiot, okay? I'm an idiot, and I have all these friend developers that I'm going to feed shit to for sure. But I'm a conservative. So as a local resident, what do I do? I don't want this dumb fucking crooked asshole in power in my area, in charge of all the stuff that has to do with me, to get that guy in power.
Those MPs all have a choice, and they sometimes switch. All of a sudden they go, you know what? Now I'm a liberal. Since I was a child, I always knew there was something different about me. I always knew that even though my conservative upbringing, I had a red jacket in my closet that was waiting to come out. And now they become a liberal, and then they just switch. So, you know what? Who's really good at talking about stupid things and people doing stupid things?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
that's a good segue.
Let's talk to Mark, because I know Mark always has something good to share, and he did send us something this week. So
we
why
have
don't
another
we head over
rant from
the
lawyer's desk.
Rants from the lawyer's desk. Mark, how are you?
Okay, guys, I didn't even really have that much of a rant this week, but I have this snazzy new jacket, this great new t-shirt, and this pocket square. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to miss out on this. I'm coming on. And I also have a green screen behind me. So I'm really excited to see what you do with this. I'm actually a bit nervous, to be very frank. But anyways, look, as I do a lawyer rant, you're going to hear a rant from me anyways, because my new red jacket has to be for something. So my rant this week is about buyers that come from other jurisdictions, specifically those buyers that come from the UK and those that come from the States. Because newsflash to all, Ontario law is different than what it is in the States and in the UK. Now in the UK, they have this thing called gazumping. I don't know if you've heard of it, but basically I've had people come to my office and say, can I get gazumped? Because what happens in the UK is until the closing takes place, basically, someone is able to go ahead, as I understand it, I mean, I'm not a lawyer out there, step in and actually demand more money for the property or even accept other offers. The firmness of the offer doesn't really take place there, and you can get gazumped. And in the States, they don't have gazumping, but you're only liable for the extent of the deposit. So, like, you know, prudent buyers are sitting there, and it's an actual strategy to go ahead, make an offer, and walk away from the deposit. And both these people kind of come to Canada. Whereas you're aware, if you make an offer, you make an offer. Like, you are in for that offer and you can't walk away from that offer. I've had it happen. In fact, I had it happen again this week, where for whatever reason, people didn't realize that we're a different country and that we might have different laws, and gazumping doesn't apply and you can't walk away from the deposit. So I guess my rant is learn the area of law that you, or the jurisdiction that you're in, and hopefully in doing so, make better decisions in your real estate decisions. Because if you're going to be like the client that I had this week, where I had to inform them, because they were from the States, that walking away from the deal was not simply their deposit, but also their personal signature, which could land them in a whole lot of hot water, forcing them to actually complete the deal. Well, you don't really want to be like that person. And that's my rant of the week. And I am open, and I'm going to be watching the comments to see what people have to say about my brand new digs, which I'm very proud of. Take care, guys. Have a good week.
Thank you, Mr. Morris.
Mark, always a pleasure. Okay, rants from the lawyer desk, guys. You know, Darryl, I mean, one, there's a foreign buyer ban. So I'm wondering if this is just like new Canadians who have got like PR and that they're from the UK or from the States, and so that they're actually now able to buy real estate. But I've heard of that term in the UK, right? Which
I
is
never
like,
heard of that before.
Yeah, I've heard of that before, where it's like, you know, you got to worry about, and I just sold UK clients, bought and sold, and they had a lot of weird questions because they were used to it. They only bought a house here 30 something years ago, and then they lived here forever, but they never actually bought and sold, right? So like there was a ton of things that they were asking me, which were very like odd questions to ask, but they're in their 70s, so they spent most of their life in England, and so they had a lot of experience buying and selling real estate then. So yeah, super interesting how the world is. There's really no, like, the US and the Canadian and the New Zealand and the Australian real estate market favors real estate agents. But really all the other markets, real estate agents don't have much to do. You know, there's a lot more, I guess, individuals representing themselves. There's a lot less sales. There's a lot less involvement with real estate agents. So it's not as big of a business over there. And so what a shit show that would be in Toronto, right? Imagine if somebody could just at the last minute just be like, listen, I know you sold it to him for 800, but I'm now going to give you 801 and I'll close a day earlier.
That would just shake up everything. Nothing would be the same.
No one would ever get, like, you'd have all these approvals done. All these lenders would have their mortgage instructions ready to go, and nobody would ever get deals done because it would always be like, I want to get it done. Or in the States, you just walk away from your deposit. How many people would just be tying up deals with like loose deposits? You know, market changes. See ya. So crazy. So thankfully we got a pretty good system here. And
I mean, yeah, but I guess it must be different in different provinces, a little bit different. There can't be the exact same rules across the country, are there?
Yeah, there's definitely different.
Like your license doesn't work in the other.
No, it doesn't. But like
right?
I've been involved in real estate transactions in other provinces, and it's very, very similar. But there's definitely different processes.
Yeah, but that one little difference could be like a disaster, I suppose, right? I don't know what the difference could be. And quite honestly, I'm not so into this topic. Look, if you buy real estate in a different country and you think that the rules are the same, you got to be kind of dumb. Let's move on.
Just on the real estate agent side, they had an article that said that we've got 8% less realtors. So there's
Thank
like a decrease in
God.
the amount of realtors that are coming out. So hopefully
Where's that? Toronto or
that's
Canada?
Toronto. That's Toronto. And
Thank
that
God.
43,000 of them sold one house or less. And of that 43,000, 30,000 people, 30,000 agents sold 0 houses.
Oh. How many
So
of those people sold
what
their house to their family member?
what a great industry it is. Everybody should get their license. It's so
It's
easy.
super
You just
easy.
get your license and the
Yeah.
people just start coming to you looking to spend millions of dollars.
It's so funny how people's default backup plan is to become a realtor. Like all of
Yeah,
a
yeah,
sudden, they're
yeah.
going to make all kinds of money quickly,
I was
right?
doing bottle service at the club. I was selling drugs, but
Yeah.
I think I'm going to become a real estate agent. That
No, but
seems
you,
like it's a pretty good idea.
no, but you even have like guys that have been in like corporate offices for years and then they get laid off and they're like, oh, I'm just going
Yeah.
to be a realtor because that's fucking
Some guys
easy.
do well. They'll come in at like 50, 55, 60, and they've
Yeah.
got some like great
Good
clients and
network.
friends and
Yeah.
networks, and they kind of
Bunch of
clean
money.
up with a,
Yeah. Don't
handful of
give a
deals every
shit.
year. No,
It's
they're not
different if you can like
responsible.
wait to work on a good deal, but like if you got to take a lease where you're going to get $1,200 and you got to work for 4 months, not the best scenario. Okay, so TK, you keep redirecting me, and the idea of actually having the ability to vote for somebody that we want to run the country out in Calgary, they are like really into the idea of not only electing someone new, but like, let's hurry the fuck up. And actually, now, which is surprisingly low, 52% of Canada is saying they want that bastard out now. And I wonder, why can't that fucking happen? They're, first of all, 52% TK. Do you know anybody that wants Trudeau still in power?
I'm not openly admitting it, but I would want to know what that process would be, right?
To get rid of him?
Yeah, like if it only can be through Parliament, or is there just like is there like some way that the citizens can just be like, all right, listen, you guys don't know what you're doing. We've got a vote of non-confidence, and we would like to hold an election right now.
Yeah, it's like a Twitter poll away, I think. Because
you know what I mean? Like,
honestly,
I think Twitter, if
let's do
there's
that
ever going to be a
poll.
use for it, at one point, it'll be some sort of electoral use. But anyways, let's stop talking about elections.
Well, but so Calgary, they're all heated up, and like their market, I think, is still kind of hot. But for things like this, we have
I don't know much
an
about the
expert.
Calgary market, but let's see what our expert Kip Conahan has to say about the Calgary market. Kip?
A message from
Kip Conahan.
Oh, whoa, hey, hey, I'm Kip Conahan here, reporting live from Calgary. Hey, boys, Darryl and TK, you guys are doing a great job, you know. I'm hearing these reports from Calgary about the real estate market. There are lots of people are moving over there, and the Calgary Real Estate Board, they're now reporting 2,174 sales in October this year. Fantastic, fantastic. The average price is now up to $592,500. It's up 4.5%, boys. 4.5%, okay? But the inventory's rising, okay? The Ontario buyers are leaving. The Calgary buyers, they've been here before, but guess what? It's still a seller's market. Okay, boys, remember, Calgary market's dangerous. You gotta be careful out there. People, be careful when you're buying that real estate out there. The oil, the gas, the cowboys, the rodeos, the stampedes. They're all one big mix of craziness, all right? Now remember, if you heard it somewhere else and it ain't in the news, then it may or may not be true.
Wow. He didn't look so hot this week, did he, TK?
No.
A little rough around the edges.
Yeah, we'll have a talk with Kip after the show. But let's just digest some of the information that he said. Obviously, Calgary seems to be doing pretty well. I mean, prices are up, so that's always good. People like to hear about that.
Yeah.
Right? Now,
oil's down, prices are up, activity's up, inventory is starting to
inventory's
accumulate.
starting to climb, right? And you break down some of the other sales, and you look at like row homes. You know, those are going up. Obviously, single detached homes, those are going up. But the condo market seems to be slowing down a little bit.
Oh, geez, really?
Right?
There's a shocker.
Yeah. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's something that you gotta, it's growing, but it's not at the same rate that it was before, right? And so apartment sales were down 13%.
That's big.
Ooh.
That's a big
But
one.
where were all those apartment sales coming from?
Ontario and
Who the
Vancouver,
heck in
no?
Alberta is
And
like, I need to
BC.
live in a condo. I'm gonna go move to Alberta and live in a condo. You can get a
Yeah.
house for
There's not
four or
enough
five hundred
land
thousand
everywhere.
dollars.
That's the thing. It's like
Yeah,
Saskatchewan, Alberta, Manitoba. Like, why are you even building a second story, guys? Dude, what's going
exactly.
on here?
Just go
No
out.
basements, right? Just pile down
Just
past the frost
sprawl
line, get a
out.
bungalow going.
Yeah.
Let's get some people into. Okay, but that's what we should be doing in Ontario and in BC, because there's nothing affordable. You can actually get an affordable, even still in Alberta. There's plenty of places that you can probably pay like 200,000-300,000 for a house, right? I don't know how close you are to Calgary and Edmonton, and I don't know if anything else even matters out that way. But
There's some
I still
Northern Ontario places.
I still can't picture a Canada where Calgary isn't the second highest price market in Canada. Like, it just makes sense.
Well, the
Even though
incomes are there.
if people would get their fucking brains together and
Never.
realize
There's no international attention. The foreign buyer influence
should be.
that Toronto and Vancouver has really impacted the attention that we get, because it leads to more immigration. It leads
Vancouver
to
needs to be
population growth.
rethunk here.
It leads to foreign investment. It leads to all sorts of speculation, right? So for whatever reason, the foreigners just don't like Calgary. I think it's cowboy hats. It's got to be the cowboy hats.
Alberta has to start behaving more like Dubai.
Yeah.
They need to be very open and welcoming and want people to come there. And
I think that, you know what that is? That's what it is. I think Calgary, the
you can't make money there.
impression that the world has of Calgary is there a bunch of white cowboy Canadians, and that they're not going to accept.
Who don't want to sell their oil to anyone because their prime minister's a fucking moron.
Yeah.
Like, open up the oil to the world and let us just sell it for like the top. TK, Donald Trump said something when he was on the show last week, and he said, like, there shouldn't be, he didn't say this, but this is what he was intimating. Trust me.
Sorry. Okay.
There shouldn't be taxes in Canada. We should all have a piece of the action for the natural resources that we have so much of. Okay. These should be public companies that are, well, they shouldn't be public companies because the government's a bunch of morons. But there's got to be some mechanism where we can make this thing
get a piece of the
super profitable, because we have everything and there's not that many of us. There's plenty to go around, but instead we tax to fucking death. We get carbon tax to death. Meanwhile, in the States, they're lowering taxes. They're bringing on in all the incentives. They're saying all the right things right now. And what are we doing? What are we doing? We got fucking rainbow half people on washroom doors. Okay. Like, we're spending money on like the craziest, dumbest shit. And we're spending money, sending money all over the place. And I believe that this is going to change across the world because of what they're doing in the States. I'm actually excited to get somebody in here that's going to clean house. But I don't want to wait another year, TK. I can't do this anymore.
Well, I don't think that it's going to happen unless you start a Twitter poll. I don't think it's going to happen.
Maybe I'll do a Twitter poll. So okay, what else we got? We got all these politicians that are lying to us and they're making up stuff like, what do we have here, TK? We got, what's Toronto City Council passes plan to entice developers to build rental homes? No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
Zero incentive. We talked about this last show. There's zero benefit to the developer to add that many affordable units to only get a break on some development charges and property taxes.
Well, okay, so but what's so crazy is people read this. I had a conversation yesterday with a guy.
Yeah.
But I had a conversation with a guy who builds custom houses, okay? And so generally what happens is you dabble in custom homes, you make some money, you get into like maybe a townhouse project, and then, you know, maybe a mid-rise, and then a higher, like there's steps, there's levels. I mean, some guys go straight for the top, and some of them win, some of them don't win. We're going to see a lot of them don't win soon. But I'm talking to this guy who's a custom home builder yesterday, and he's like, I want these main street things, and I see like all these incentives, and I'm going to go out there. I'm going to buy 7 properties between now and January 15th. And because of these new incentives for rentals, this is going to be beautiful. This is going to be wonderful. And he doesn't have a fucking clue what he's talking about. But he read the article, and he's reading the articles that are saying, oh, wow, if you buy it over here, like, because what they've also done.
There's got to be a material benefit here.
Well, now they're doing avenue studies and the Main Street thing and everything, right? They're throwing all these things that literally, I mean, some of them do something, some of them don't. But then
the avenues, I think, is a good one. Like that site I sold on Shepherd, that's the only one that I was working on that would benefit from that immensely, right? Hey guys, if you're looking to book a call with me, check out the link below on the Calendly, and you can have 15 minutes with yours truly talking about anything you want, real estate related.
Yeah, listen.
So if you can throw on a few extra stories, the issue though that you always bring up is that any sites that are already approved that maybe got 7 or 8, now they're going to say, oh, well, maybe I can do 10 or 11 or 12, and that's going to end up delaying the actual units ever getting built. Right?
Ever getting built. Well, that's a problem, but there's plenty of avenues. There's plenty of properties on avenues that are available or that you can build something on. So by expanding the list, by expanding the area and not incentivizing people to do it, what are you doing? You're doing what you just said. You're giving guys that already own land that were thinking about it as a 6-story. Now they're going to go, oh, okay, let's hit the brakes. Let's redo everything. We're going for 14 stories now. Or we're going for...
I actually just thought of a really great site. I'll share it with you afterwards.
That's fantastic. Last time that happened, we hit a grand slam. But our friend Chris spoke, he just put in an application in Etobicoke where it was like an 11 or 14 story application previously. He bought 2 more properties and now he's going for 43 stories. Okay. So again, you have a site that was almost ready to have some housing, and then you get a guy who knows a bit better, right? And things change, and all of a sudden you got and 43 stories is not going to be a slam dunk. They're going to fight back and forth. And
sure.
Right. And so my real point here, TK, is that
I'm not sure what it is.
I'm in the trenches and I see how political these things get and how crazy it really is. All these ideas that they throw at us behind the surface, under the surface, behind closed doors, nobody is trying to fucking get housing built. Okay.
Zero.
The developers want
less houses being built right now than we've had in how many decades?
Well, but that's all of the shit coming together into a reset, right? And it was necessary. That needed to happen.
It's mainly not because that the cash isn't there. Okay, it's not
or
that
the willingness.
They're like we've got the money, we want to do it. There's a lot of high net worth people who are in development who want to make things work, but they're watching all their friends right now who are all struggling to be able to sell their zone sites or to be able to do pre-construction on the zone sites that they've been working for years on. Yeah. They're struggling because they're getting calls from people that they've never heard of saying, hey, I've got this great zone site. Do you want to buy it? Right? So they got so many options. They're struggling because the lenders that they normally deal with are coming to them and they're saying, hey, we're taking this guy into receivership, and we just wanted to know if this was a site that you guys might be interested or not, because based on X, Y, and Z, we can't sell it, right? And so they're just kind of going like, hey, wait a second.
And X, Y, and Z are all lies, by the way, right? They're all not really the reason they can't sell it. They need another site. They need the capital for a better deal.
Sure,
right?
Sure. The lenders,
it's always bullshit.
Sure. But the bottom line is you've got this huge wave of issues going through every single development site in the city right now because everybody borrowed money. There's very few guys who are going in cash. I got one guy that I'm going on the put on the market probably next week. Him and I are going to talk again on Monday. He built 4 houses on spec. Cash.
Well, good timing. Cash.
No debt on the property. So we're going to be offering VTBs. But I looked at it and I was just like, oh man. And he had He had them finished in the peak of the market, and he just listened to an agent who
he listed it for $2 million more than it was worth.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the agent said, hey, don't worry, you're going to make money. Bottom line is this was not a profitable site, but he was in the peak of the market 2022. So he spent 2 years trying to sell with a couple different agents. So finally he said, what do I got to do? He knocked on our door And you know, I showed him a path on how to get these houses sold, which
But that's what's
which
crazy
he's got
is
no
that
more. This is not normal.
how
How many
do these
guys are in that
guys not
position?
know the real path to getting it sold? Like, what do you got to be a genius to be in real estate? What do you got to do to get it
It's
sold? Do you have
emotion.
to?
It's emotion. It's emotion. It's
It's
I don't
just a
want to.
number.
I don't want to sell and lose money. My family, my retirement, my pride, all this type of stuff. This is what people think about. You know, I got other stuff going on too. I
Can
told you
you
about a little
get
bit of a
somebody
scandal.
more though? Can you get? Oh, the
Yeah, well, I'm going to give him
scandal.
the most amount of money you can possibly get. The bottom line is the market's going down. I'm going to sell his homes before he loses even more and make sure we squeeze every dollar out of any buyer that comes to the table.
While
Right?
it's going
They're
down.
great houses. They're great houses.
Great
Yeah, so I'm
houses.
dealing with
Tremendous houses.
I'm dealing with a potential fraud.
Fraud, scandal, another exclusive to the Canadian real estate show.
Somebody basically selling a property they had no authority to sell.
Oh wow!
I know.
But there's
And
a
so,
line on the APS that says, "I am the."
listen, they had the documentation, they had all the storyline, they had it all presented.
What about a lawyer, TK?
And
Was
a
a
lawyer, I had
involved?
a lawyer confirm everything.
What?
I know.
I hope everybody has insurance, TK.
Okay, so I feel bad for the buyers because the buyers are like, they've put money out now for this deal, and it's an
They sell their
expensive
house.
luxury property. They haven't.
Ooh,
But
lucky.
they've put money out, and their money
And
would be tied
stupid.
up. And so it's a suspected fraud at this point. I don't have any evidence
Why?
or anything
Why?
like that.
Oh, just a
Yeah.
feeling?
Just based off of my gut, my intuition, what other people are saying who are related to this person.
Oh, why are they
Um,
involved?
What one lawyer is saying is possibly going on right now.
Is this an estate? Is this like a dead guy selling a place?
All I can tell you at this point in time is the case is ongoing. But in Toronto, there is no shortage of awesome things happening behind the scenes in real estate. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
like I wish I could talk about the things I'm dealing with behind the scenes. It's
Yeah.
so nutty. And what's so crazy, at least with what I'm dealing with, is like, how many people are there in Toronto right now? Like 4 million in Toronto? Like
Probably.
actually in Toronto?
Yeah.
4 million people. 6 people, okay, have an issue. Out of the 6 people, they're like living in an apartment building, okay? Like, not that people in apartment buildings shouldn't have the same rights, but they shouldn't have the same rights, TK. I'm
How
sorry.
dare you?
How
dare you?
I? But like, you know what? If the fucking guy who owns the building doesn't give a shit, that's what matters. Not the people. If you're renting and you don't like something, leave, right? If you live on a, what is going on? But the point is that these politicians cater to 3 people that are loud, that can send out emails to lots of people. Okay.
Yeah.
The other 3,999,993 people, they don't give a fuck. They're like, oh, that's a nice building. Can't wait to see that every day. That's going to be cool. Right.
Yeah.
You got a street full of people. Okay.
Well, that's why they changed
6 people give a fuck. And that
but they can't
counts
appeal.
more.
But they can't appeal any decisions. No third-party
They
appeals.
can push the MP though,
Sure.
and make his balls sweat a lot, right?
Sure.
And they can freak people out and
People do
threaten.
that. But people do
People
that all
do
the time. Those guys are used to it. Those MPs, those councillors, those guys, they're used to the pressure. They know.
They're
They
used to the
smile,
pressure.
They nod. They said, "Can I count on your vote next spring? Can I count on your vote next spring? I am going to do everything I can. I'm going to have my best work."
It is a
on this for
wonderful
you."
show.
That's how
It is a
goes.
wonderful show,
That's how
and
it
it's
goes.
wonderful to watch. But when you see what I kind of deal with on a regular basis, and who am I, TK? Like, who the fuck am I?
You're the
Right?
co-host
Just the
of the
best
Canadian Real
developer
Estate
in Toronto.
Yeah.
I mean, other than being the best developer in Toronto, really, who the fuck am I, TK? Like, what? Who cares what I have to say? But like, it's so broken and it's so ridiculous. Because, like I said last week, I just want to fucking build this beautiful building. Like, get out of my fucking way, everybody. Just let me build stuff. There's guys that they just want to
Have you met
build.
with the mayor yet, Daryl?
Have I met with the
Have you
mayor
met with
yet?
the mayor yet?
The
That's
mayor?
when I was working on that site in Pickering, I got a meeting with the mayor.
You got a
Alright?
meeting with the
I
mayor
got a
of
meeting with the
Pickering.
mayor.
Yeah. Well, who cares about the mayor of Pickering?
The
Sorry.
people working on that site did.
Yeah. Well, you don't even need to work on the site. Yeah. The people working on that site can get a meeting with the mayor of Pickering.
Yeah.
And it's very easy for me to get meetings with the people I need at the moment. But
Well, I think you should get a meeting with the mayor and talk
I
to the
don't
mayor.
really need a meeting
and
with
say,
the mayor.
listen, this is going to be the least affordable project in all of the city.
That's right.
And it's therefore going to push the rich people out of those other buildings, allowing for more buildings to be affordable.
Do you see? Do you see how this works?
Yeah.
I keep saying wealthy people need housing too. They should, I said we, but I'm not a wealthy person, but they, TK, they need shelter too. Okay. And they count and they vote and they probably control way more votes. But
Way
again,
more.
am I off the rails? I feel like this is a very political show this week, TK, but like,
I feel like
my
you're hot.
butt is
You're hot on
burning.
something today. Yeah, your butt's
My
burning
butt
today.
is burning with
You've been
these
nonstop
politicians right
ranting.
now. I am
Yeah.
ranting. I should have been on the lawyer's desk. Well, what is happening on the ground right now?
I can
from
tell
my
you for sure.
perspective,
I can tell you for sure from my perspective that we got a whole bunch more problems coming up next year. There are
different
still
problems.
millions of mortgages that are going to be renewed. There
Millions.
are still people right now who are literally paycheck to paycheck trying to be able to pay the payments on the loans that they've got right now. Some of them aren't even as affected by the rates as you would think they are, but just their situation has changed. They borrowed more than they could handle. Some of them, it was the fact that their rates went up. Then there's a bunch who haven't even renewed yet, so they haven't even started to feel that pressure.
Yeah.
Unemployment's rising, so you got people who are still feeling the pressure because of the change in their income. All that frivolous, like so many people had this increase in income for 2 years from whatever it was, their real estate sales, their side gig, their bit, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden they were like, oh, I should go out and buy this. And I should go out and spend this because I have this great income. Look how amazing I am. And that income's disappeared now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The side hustle's disappeared. And so there's a lot of people right now who are really, really, really struggling and they're hanging on. And everyone's got this sense of hope. It's just like, next year's going to be better. They're lowering rates.
How long can
if they
people
lower the
hang
rates
on,
another
though?
50 basis points in December, everybody's going to be so excited. Oh my gosh.
They will
I want
be.
to talk about the commercial market afterwards, but this is just right on the residential side. And that they're all expecting that buyers are just stupid and that they're just going to be going in and paying whatever price they need to. Well, guess what? The buyers have lots of options and there really aren't a lot of buyers out there. And so sellers' expectations are way off still. That's the truth. The listings that I was able to sell over the last couple of months is because
Sellers' expectations are way off?
Sellers' expectations were reasonable, and so they were able to get it sold. But the people who are unreasonable right now aren't getting it sold. I made an offer this week with a client on a property.
Is that true though? Because I see stuff about like bidding wars.
We were in a bidding war that there was 5 offers. We were like 100,000 over asking. There was people telling they were saying, oh, there's people higher than us. So we just said like whatever, see you later. And then I got an email the next day saying, oh, we didn't sell, but we've relisted it now at $275,000 more than what we had it listed at before.
So
and
they're using
where did
like,
that number come? No,
so,
the seller's expectations are too high. Right? Because that house isn't worth that. Like the price that we offered, I think was a little low, maybe a little bit more. Let's say, 50 grand more or something like that would be reasonable. But to add an extra 200,000 onto what we were even offering, or almost 200,000.
But nobody
nobody.
no sign back, nothing. Like
of all those 5 offers, they couldn't put a deal together, so they took it off. So they raised it and took it off the market, put it back on at a higher price.
Are they using that strategy to feel out the market quickly?
No. It's
just
they
done.
thought if I list it low and I can get competing bids, then maybe I can get more. It just poor guidance. And so like the sellers that I'm dealing with right now, I've got the same sort of roadblocks. Like I know, like I'm like, listen, this is where we're listed here. We need to be here. It's not far off. They're all very close. But the sellers are just like, no, we feel like the interest rates are going to help us. No, we can't sell for less or da 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 da. But of course, their situations are all like, we're going to be selling them. So it's not like we have a choice, but it's just this disconnect between where reality is, where the buyers think the market is, and where the sellers are. That the sellers think it is. That has been out of touch for a very long time.
So, but like we see across the board, like prices are fairly stable. So who's right now? Is the buyer's expectation
prices
reasonable?
Are stable. Remember, prices are stable because of what's actually transacting.
What does that mean?
That means that if you record a sale, then that's the price that they're going to use. But it doesn't take into account what sellers' expectations are. That's what active inventory does. And inventory is not coming down.
Okay.
Right? So that's where you
not
look at,
coming down at all?
No.
Really?
No.
We had a little bit in October, but like I
thought it
tell you
came
right
down a
now,
bit,
that's
yeah.
it's not happening like overall on a grand scheme. If you look at the trajectory of inventory this year, it's just been steadily going up. You might have these little tiny adjustments here and there, but by the end of December, you'll look and you'll say, "Oh boy,
Oh
this year was
boy.
getting further and further into a buyer's market."
Well, I guess we'll see what happens. I can't imagine that more rate cuts won't stimulate more. I mean, we saw what
Stimulate
happened.
how? What do they
What do you mean,
stimulate?
how?
Your fixed rate is going to be very
Prices
similar
are
to
still
what it is
coming
today.
down a
You
little
still got
bit?
a 2% stress test. Your variable rate gets affected, but you're still going to be stress test at the prime rate plus 2%, right? So you still have all these different avenues that don't really increase affordability, you know?
I think the answer just really is to get more of these purpose-built rental properties pumped out onto the market. I'm not kidding. I know
That's on the
people are
rental
saying
side.
rents coming down,
Rents are
and there's
coming
so
down a
many
little bit. It's a
so many
softening rentals
options in
market.
condos and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. There's going to be people who are going to take a little bit of a hit. And remember, rents are coming down,
But these
but you've
things
also
won't be
got
built for
condos.
2-3 years.
I know, but you've also got brand new condos renting at record high rents because they're brand new. So people are like, "Oh, it's brand new, so I'm willing to pay more."
Yeah.
Right? So you got to remember that rents have actually come down much more than you think. Probably an average place would be more than the, couple percent that they're claiming,
Well, I don't know because
right? Like a
those places,
10-year-old place.
I doubt the older places are even in competition with these new things. So it's like all
They
the
always are. It's
new
all connected.
crazy pricing is starting to come down. The old shit at lower prices has got to be staying the same or really close.
It's got pressure on it downwards too. Once they
Pressure
start
on it
changing
downwards
things,
too. I mean,
yeah, once they
maybe
start
that
changing
stuff has
things with
more pressure actually because there's more people looking for that price point.
the foreign students is a big factor. You've got a little bit more optimism in the market, so sales in real estate's going up a little bit. So there's gonna be people now who are gonna say, "Hey, let's wait until we can buy again," right? You've got a lot of different like
I
swings
gotta
that
think
are
that
different.
people
There was a point there where no one wanted to buy, and we had this huge amount of temporary foreign workers, foreign students, and people and new Canadians. So that really offset the rental market, and that situation doesn't exist anymore.
right. And then
That's
all the
changed
people that you're going to
dramatically.
turn into permanent residents probably can't afford half of the shit that's available anyways.
They're not stupid. The people
they're
getting
not
like
dumb,
permanent
but
residency, like
they're not
these people are stacking up with their friends and family, like left, right, and center, or their husband or wife or whatever it is. Like they're not going out and renting
I
some
hope with the
luxurious
husband and
condo
wife.
somewhere. How
I
many
don't know.
people could
I
really do
see
that?
the
That's the
craziest
Canadian
rents.
people with good income who normally could be going into the housing market, but instead they're like, I'll go and rent a $3,000 a month condo
TK.
in Markham.
Last week, okay, there was a condo in the Four Seasons that rented for $20,000 a month.
Yeah.
Rented,
Nice
not
place.
not like no, 20,000 even for there is fucking crazy. And this was, hold on a second, I gotta just sort this quickly. $20,000 a month, which was down $1,300 a month from the last time it was leased. Okay, for 2,500 square feet. And this is in a building where, like, I mean, somebody owns that unit. This is not like a rental building, right? So you
Sure.
can go rent the place for 20 grand a month and get
2,500 square
renovated
feet. So
by
it's
the guy.
probably a $4 to $5 million condo.
It doesn't matter.
But
It's
if you
that
own a
people are
$4 to
paying
$5
this
million
shit.
condo, you need 20 grand a month in
I
order to be
know.
able to justify
Here,
the maintenance fee is $2,000.
but check this one out. So this one, 16K a month, down $4,000 a month from the last time it was leased. Okay, for 3,250 square feet. But it's still 16 grand a month in some like the buildings. I've been in this building. It's actually
I'd love
another
to see the
hotel.
tenant profile.
Can you imagine?
Right?
Okay, we
I'd
got
love to just see
another
the
one.
tenant profile. Just be like, let me see why you are renting a place for 20 grand a month.
Right?
Yeah.
But like
what's your
there's
job?
so
What
many
other properties do you
TK.
own?
There's so
Why
many.
is it you're not buying? But
There's
honestly,
so many people paying more than 10 grand a month for their place
to live in the
to
luxury
rent.
lifestyle. This is it. It's all
unbelievable.
lifestyle.
It's amazing.
Everybody wants to buy the lifestyle. Nobody actually can afford
They
it,
want to rent
but
it.
everyone wants to rent it and live in those areas. It's crazy. I got a client right now that I'm dealing with, which is a tough situation and I'm giving them the right advice, but they're like, no, I need to be in this neighborhood. And I'm like, you're going to be renting then. And they've got the option to buy in fantastic other neighborhoods, but they want to be in a certain neighborhood. And I said, you're going to be renting then. And
for
they're
that
like, "I
price
can't be."
point. Yeah.
And I'm like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Why
But
can't
what
you
the
just
hell's
change
wrong with
neighborhoods?
renting anyways? Who cares? Put your money somewhere else. Make more money.
In this particular case, it would not be the right decision.
Not be the right
Not be the
decision.
right decision.
That's a lot of money though. Like, I mean, if you're going to spend 10, 15, 20 grand a month, I mean, you really should be able to find a house that you can afford for Christ's sakes. No,
It's all about down payment and everything too.
Down payment and all kinds of stuff.
Did you see the CMHC thing though, that about next year's report, the analysis? Did you read into that at all?
Where was that?
It was just basically saying that like,
Oh,
we've
I
got
did have
the
that
few different
somewhere.
markets. Yeah, so you've got like this mortgage delinquency report, Calgary, Saskatchewan, or Saskatoon, and Halifax. Those are like pretty normal. They don't expect that there's going to be a lot of delinquencies there as far as like, you know, compared to a few years ago. Winnipeg, they're seeing a lot of increase in their credit debt, but not anything too crazy. Toronto and Vancouver, obviously the highest risk. Toronto being number one. Okay.
Sure.
For mortgage delinquencies next year. This is what
For
people
sure.
like.
Of course, it's
Everyone
number
doesn't
one.
believe-
There's the most.
Everyone doesn't believe us. They're just like, oh, you know, like we're dealing with many power sales every single week, saving people or listing the property and not getting it. I had a colleague of mine tell me, and then the last one was Montreal, Ottawa, and Edmonton. They're still evaluating, but the credit debt is on the rise. I had a colleague who told me she went to go get a listing, and it was a guy who was a lawyer who had some sort of business dealings that went sour, and he was forced to sell a bunch of luxury properties. So she went in there and explained what needed to happen in order to get it sold. Some other agent came in there and says, no, you need to stage the unit. We're going to bring in all this glass and stainless steel, and then we're going to list it here and da-da-da. So 2 weeks later, the bank sees that this guy is not listed right. The strategy is no good. He's definitely not going to get it sold. And they, I guess, exercised their writ of possession, took it over. Now the agent loses all her money from the staging and everything else too, and the guy's losing a luxury condo. The more successful the person, the more likely it is that they're facing this type of issue right now. It's crazy.
It is crazy. I've said it a few times.
Over leveraged, and they've just got so many
expenses.
so many moving parts.
Yeah, the people that
we can't continue.
Least expect having trouble are the people having trouble now. But listen, there's so many disruptions, and that freaking virus that went around like really disrupted things on a scale that people don't even realize how big an effect it still will have, right? Like we're still unraveling shit from that. But anyways, TK, once again, always a pleasure.
We're on the right track, you know. I don't know if we're ever solving many problems in the Canadian real estate environment.
If they would listen to me, TK. If they would,
they
just
definitely
listen.
don't listen to me.
No,
you know,
they don't. They don't listen to me. But if
what
they
channels
did,
do they listen to, Daryl?
Whose
advice are they
seem to
taking?
be listening to your uncle, Mr. Ron Butler.
Uncle
Ron seems to be all over the news, all over everything, and for some reason they're listening to him. I don't know why, but they are.
He's got credibility. He's old.
He's old, and he's got credibility. So
when you're old, people just think you know what you're talking about. Uncle Ron, way to go! Congrats.
I mean, he doesn't wear mustaches.
He doesn't act like a fool.
He doesn't act. Well, he does act like a fool, but he doesn't wear mustaches. TK. He's got a much more dignity than we do. That must have hurt. TK. Once again, we're here.
Wearing a mustache
we
again.
made it through. Mustaches are almost over.
Halfway through the month.
We're almost there. Red jackets. Mr. Morris joined the team with a red jacket. Very, very sexy.
He looked great.
Looked great. TK, you look great as always.
I do my best.
I certainly look fantastic. We
Don't
both
forget
look
to like,
way
comment,
better.
and subscribe if you're still listening to this point. Just, click on that button.
Join the Clips
Drop
channel.
a comment. We do have the most comments out of all the Canadian real estate shows. So I guess that means that people really do care.
They do.
The Canadian real estate show.
Clips channel's about to hit 3,000 subs, TK. That thing's going to be ahead of the Tom Story show pretty soon. So
not much of an
get on board there.
But I know it's something to talk about.
They're still on the air for some reason. I mean, I guess anybody can be, TK. But we have to get off right now because I got a lunch meeting. Mister, have a nice day.